I didn't either. Well, kind of.
We appointed John.
Okay, it is 5 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Roll call, we're missing Emma. She has told us ahead of time, and we are expecting Denny yet. I haven't heard that he's not coming anyway. Everyone else is here. On the agenda, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as written, and are there any changes?
The only change is under financial report and approval of bills. I do have a walk-in bill that I'll talk about.
Okay. So here's Danny. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda with that one addition?
Move to approve with the addition.
Okay, second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. All right, on to the next, approval of the minutes. So, can I have a motion to approve the minutes, and is there any discussion or changes? Okay, any discussion or changes, questions? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes from last month, say aye. Aye. Okay, so moved or approved. And then the director's report. So you're up.
Okay, so as I informed you, I'm not going to say a whole lot about reports unless you have questions. Because we also have acting state librarian Brenda Hemmelman here, and we'll have a discussion with her later in the agenda. So are there any questions about anything that I wrote or that Jean wrote? I can tell you that we've had I will just add that we've had interviews. We had 4 interviews for the cataloger position. And actually, the interview that we were supposed to have with the gentleman from Massachusetts yesterday at 4:30, which caused us to move this meeting. Over the noon hour yesterday, he emailed me and said he was declining the interview. So, so that is what it is.
Only question I have to read through, is the overdrive thing a good move? Is there more information to come?
Well, it's a good move because
We don't have to duplicate with the school stuff?
well, it doesn't cost us anything, and it should increase our usage. And by also having this connection with Mount Vernon schools, Ethan schools, and Mitchell Christian, but I guess Mount Vernon and Ethan, that also hopefully increases our county usage, which, I can report then to the county commissioners, when we request money again, that, hey, we've established this additional partnership or connection.
Plus, it seems like there's less manpower to establish those accounts separately. Or?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, and as I alluded to, we're cleaning up the patron accounts, and we purged a number of student patrons accounts because they needed to have a real barcode, and now they're able to connect to our Overdrive content through their Sora account through the school.
Right. So I think I have a motion to approve, and, we go on and do the library stats now, too.
Yeah, and
there
I guess we
anything
just
that
want
you want to
to,
point
and
out?
I'll just say about statistics, if you looked at them, I mean, it's small up there, but, we saw some good improvement in circulation was up a little bit, but we had over 4,000 people, counted coming into the library in March, and that's the highest month that we've had. Well, last summer we had, I think, a 4,000, but, for a winter month, we're going in the right direction coming back out of COVID. And there was continued growth in computer usage. So.
Okay, any other questions for Kevin?
So Kevin, I was looking at all your bar graphs. How do you interpret the numbers? what do these numbers tell you now that we've got library traffic numbers, we've got circulation, we've got all these lovely bar charts? Circulation, I mean, like, what do those numbers tell you?
Well, for circulation, I mean, for example, here, COVID, we took a big hit to our circulation, and then in 2021, things were coming back. I'm interpreting this year's numbers of we're a quarter of the way through the year, so if I multiply that by the number by 4, I'm hoping that we will have circulation up over 100,000 again, which is not to where we were pre-COVID, but again, we're going in the right direction of people are using the library more. I guess that's how I see that in terms of, I mean, the monthly, by hour, I provide that as information to say, look what hour of the day we have our highest traffic. And the 10 o'clock hour is primarily going to be because of story time that starts at 10:30. And if it weren't for story time, then the afternoon hours would be a little higher. And I also see comparing the months now that we have a whole year plus of people counting, I can also do the monthly comparisons to last year and see that we're increasing, and so more people are coming back and using the library. So that's a good thing. And that can be because of programming, that can be because they're coming just to check out more books. We've seen more people use the computers, so it's a variety of things that they're coming back to use.
One of the numbers I was looking at was the Wi-Fi numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like a crazy big number. Bar chart.
And I already, we talked about that last month already, that for whatever reason, I don't know. Brenda, do you know if Hu-Fi did some different way of analyzing things that would account for that? The state library contracts with the Hu-Fi company that, then we get those numbers from. I received no explanation from them as to why, but, numbers were much higher, but I'm reporting the same thing of number of sessions per month. And so, for whatever reason, in 2022, now we have consistently been much higher, quadruple or triple to quadruple what we were in 2021. So any other questions? Or any other questions, Diana?
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the director's report?
So,
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, director's report is good. Financial report and approval of bills, and then this is where you added in one agenda item.
Yeah. So the bank statement is there. Our balance dropped a little bit because we've started to spend some. We've started to spend some money on the projects that you approved, and for the end panel project, we had to pay a 50% deposit of to start that project, and so that was nearly $14,000. So that is why. But we had the $6,500 deposit from the county, so so it didn't drop that whole amount. And so we brought in 7,883 with the 6,500 from the county, and we spent 14,209 of the board account. And then for the library budget from the city, we're on track for salaries. We're just a little under 25%. We're just over 25% in current expenses. And then in capital outlay, we've done pretty well on book budget. Some of that, the furniture and equipment, some of that, is still, the numbers were holdover from, the grant projects. We spent some money, so, the 32% isn't quite right. We did receive our money from the state library for the reimbursement for our state library ARPA. I was informed from Michelle Bathke that did arrive. And one of the reasons, as a side note, one of the reasons Brenda is here was to do the final visit for that project's showing her we actually do have the equipment we said we bought. So she can assure the funding agencies that it was spent as it was designed and intended to spend. And just one note about the budget for the year. Monday night, the City Council approved the second reading of supplemental budgets, and for the library, the Humanities Council ARPA grant funds now were put into that, because we got the money December 31st, so then it had to go as a supplemental budget to put it into 2022 budget. And then we also had submitted 2 requests for the archives humidifier unit that had gone kaput in 2021. We got funding for that, as well as then funding to do some electrical wiring, networking wiring to help with our grant projects, to get us a capacity in there for that. So that's kind of budget things. And then the bill, we had a interlibrary loan from Siouxland, from Sioux Falls Libraries, that was lost. Our patron said it was returned, and I had to believe her because I think one of our staff members maybe didn't realize it was the interlibrary loan book, and then saw it wasn't our book and put it in the used book sale, because our volunteers told me, they remember seeing that title. So it's $17.99 that Siouxland charged us for that book. So I already, we did the check, but I'm just giving approval for paying that. So any questions?
That's pretty good you tracked that down that carefully, because good for you.
I just have a question, not on the budget, but the end caps, what's the?
That is, yeah, that actually, we can go back. Well,
You don't have to do it.
We just made our final decisions on the finishes and submitted that this week. So they said it will probably be 12 to 14 weeks once the drawing. So 3 months, 3.5 months. So this summer. And I have some of the finishes for the children. I don't know if we want to go back or
You don't have to
approve this, but then I could just tell you about this.
That's fine. It's still director's report.
Well, we already approved that. We're going to have we're actually going to have 5 bright colors, one on each row in the children's collection. And some of the laminate samples are from one Formica and some are from Wilson Art. So these are the Formica colors there. For the adult collection, for nonfiction and fiction, we're going to have a light maple. And then for the teens, we're going to have something a little more funky. And then we're going to have something bright for the media collection too, so we can just pass those around.
Thank you, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, thank you. I meant to talk about that then. So any other questions on financial reports or the bill?
All right, can I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Okay, we're good on financial report and approval of bills. Moving on, business items, action to approve funding request for April, and that is your separate proposal here, Kevin.
Yes.
QuickBooks and the Hispanic Dance Troupe.
Yes, for, we have a copy of QuickBooks that we, and it's 2019, and so it will be, as I said, the support for that will be ending, and every time I open it up, it says support is ending May 31st. I think that for QuickBooks, since we don't have any other add-ons like payroll or anything, that it will probably continue to work, but through TechSoup, which is a technology company, or that we can get, nonprofits can get cheaper versions. We can get an upgrade for $78, and so I was hoping that we could do that. But the last time, when I looked last week, they still didn't have the 2022 version. And so I really don't want to buy the 2021 version, because then that would only be good for 2 more years. I mean, and so.
Is it such that because they're cheaper, you're behind? Is that something, or is that not the case?
I don't know. There wasn't any information as to why there wasn't the 2022 version. I mean,
So,
I would assume.
if you're comfortable waiting.
Yeah, I'm comfortable waiting, and even, I thought I would get approval, but not for purchasing it when it becomes available. But the other thing is if the current version continues to run into June and beyond, there isn't a rush to upgrade it. So any
I would say hang tight till you can. I'm running the 2008 Quicken edition. Works fine.
Well, yeah, Quicken is different from, QuickBooks is typically for businesses to use for their accounting. But we don't, as I said,
It just needs
we
support ended, right?
we don't have any add-ons, for direct deposit, payroll, or anything like that. So the other funding request, I talked about it last month. We were wanting to bring in a Hispanic dance troupe from Sioux City in September. They are available September 10th. Their fee is $500, and then plus travel expense. And just this afternoon, I asked Ada if she had heard anything from them on what they were going to investigate travel expense. And just when I got here, she texted me an image. And it looks like the quote they got, I don't know what they're doing, if they're renting or chartering a bus, $2,400. I'm not willing, I don't think we want to pay $2,400. I was hoping, they could maybe carpool or something, if they had some vans or something, and we'd pay mileage. So I'm not quite sure that we want to pursue that. I guess I would still like to pursue it and talk to them about, can they find something more reasonable. I was thinking if we, $500 to get 30 people up here, that'd be a couple 15-passenger vans or something. I don't know what it would cost to rent a 15-passenger van and for them, 2 of them, and drive up here. But $2,500 for transportation is
If you rented a coach line bus, that's how much it costs. And I wrote myself a note that transportation might cost more than the presentation, so.
Yeah.
Just didn't know how much it would cost. And where would the performance be?
on the Corn Palace Plaza stage.
Plaza.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are thinking,
If it's a storm or whatever,
well, I would, yeah.
to be determined.
Yeah, to be determined, because we couldn't bring it into the Corn Palace because Doug Greenway told me that there is a banquet that evening. Yeah, so they'll be setting up for that. So, yeah, we would be at the mercy of, or if we could then see if there's a church.
Check with the school, if it has to do.
Yeah, I mean, I could check there too.
Throw somebody at school.
I think so. So, I mean, that would be it. But, I mean, the transportation may make it a
Yeah.
deal breaker.
We sort of could find a community partner
Yeah.
to go in on that, because by finding a partner, you'd also get more attendance. If another organization was also co-present promoting it.
Well, I was,
Chamber's aware.
yeah, and I was going to work, I mean, if we get approval for moving forward for funding, then I was going to work with Main Street and Beyond. I was going to talk there to see if they can organize some Hispanic food trucks that would set up in the parking lot and be there, because we would have it'd be like a 12:30, 1 o'clock performance. So, have some food that people could come early and eat. And we'd also have to feed them. So I was going to contact first probably Holy Family, since they have a Hispanic priest, and a number of the Hispanics would be Catholic and go to church there, see if they would be willing to feed them. So I was going to do that for partnering too.
And I'm just wondering about what used to be the women special dance. Where are they now? Is there another dance troupe in town? Because you got all those little girls dancing. You got them to come and,
As part of the show.
yeah, as part of the show, or have them teach. Add on to that, because wherever those little girls go, lots of people with cash go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they do.
It's on 4th Street, right off Main Street, where the Hot Spot bar used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's where one of the dance ones
I'm just thinking, that's why people have kids dance at halftime shows, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something that maybe they'd be willing to teach. I mean, since this would be September, they would just be starting up, their dance year.
But even to invite them.
But certainly invite them, and yeah.
The other thing I was thinking, and I'm trying to remember when they did it, but Iverson has donated before 2 15-passenger vans. And I can't remember if that was at the Abbott House when I was there, or I can't remember, and I don't know if they have any connection to Sioux City, but they did it for free. We didn't have to pay a penny.
Oh, wow.
They donated 2 15-passenger vans to take girls somewhere, but I can't remember where. And I don't know if they would want to drive all the way to Sioux City.
Yeah, that'd be a double trip to go get them and then take them back.
Is there any South Dakota Humanities Council grants or anything?
We can look into it. Yeah, and I guess the thing is, I was thinking, until getting that price for the transportation, I was thinking, okay, if I didn't necessarily even expect you to approve the funding today, but just kind of maybe give your blessing, we move forward. But, $3,000 for an hour presentation, that's not, that's too much for us to pay. And so.
Do you know the fixed number, the people is 30 approximately?
Yeah. They've given us that's how many they'd be bringing.
And Iverson's might have their connections
To down there.
that could help you out.
Yeah.
If you want to check.
Okay. So I guess maybe what I would ask is, would you be willing to, say, continue moving forward on this, that if we can come up with a reasonable, transportation amount, a solution that, this would be something we continue to move.
Table it till next month. We don't have to say no, we wouldn't just say no, but.
We
Well,
table
other
it,
pieces.
can you act on
Here's the reason why.
Forward with information.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily, if we're not going to then fund it, then, I don't want to keep working with the group to say, yes, this is the date, we want you to come and keep that date open for us, but I also.
If we put $1,000 at it, I'd want to make sure that there was at least 250 people there, right? For an hour-long presentation? I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I think.
Well, and
I
we
think
would
it
be
should a
promoting-
little bit more.
We would be promoting it to get that many people or more because, we would promote it as a kickoff to Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts the 15th, which, 5 days later. But, we would contact the dance troops, we would contact, the church for food. We would get as many people there as possible. I would want even more there. And maybe I should see, Steve's idea of the PAC, see if they would allow us to use that at no cost. And then it would be something that we could have indoors, we wouldn't have to worry about the weather, and we know that we could have a lot more people, seated comfortably.
All right, so, I'm not sure where that leaves us.
So I'm looking for direction. Looking for your wisdom.
I just need to know more questions and answers right now, so again, just discuss it again next month, and, we just need some more partners. Yeah, we just need more partners.
Are you okay with,
Good idea. Pursue
Yeah.
information.
yeah,
And so
Do you have any idea what
I'm
we
in
have
favor
to
of
pay
it.
them the
Just see-
$500?
I think the day of, I think,
So we got time.
yeah.
We don't have to authorize any money that needs to go
Right,
out.
the
in
staffing
couple
move
months or
forward with
anything.
I just think.
Yeah, so I don't-
Potential for lots of great,
Partnerships.
partnerships, huge, right? Huron has a huge community
Yeah.
of people who might want to come join us for this,
And I
right?
know Karen Whitney at the chamber is available, she's doing workforce development with Trail King and Huron and the Hispanic community, so.
I just
we
think we
need
need
to
more
use
partners.
that.
Yeah, I've talked to her about this, yeah.
To make that work.
Okay. I don't think then it needs to be tabled or anything. We'll just, you don't have to act on, no action at all, and we'll just,
I move to approve the QuickBooks thing for the 2022 issue comes out.
Second,
okay.
all right, so
yeah, 5 when you need it.
all right, all in favor, say aye.
it. Aye.
All right, and then we are going to just get more information about the Hispanic dance troupe. So the next thing is the summer hours. You are recommending that we don't really change them other than Mondays.
Well, yeah, last year, with COVID, we then, instead of being open on Mondays until 9, we were open until 7. And I'm just giving you, I gave you the hour, or the traffic that we've had in the 7 o'clock hour and in the 8 o'clock hour from September through March. And also, based on looking back at even how few people we had from 6 to 7 last year, but we do want to do programming on Monday evening, some Monday evening, so we would like to be open until 8 o'clock this summer. But also based on anecdotal information from staff from previous years, the 8 to 9 o'clock, in the summer, also they didn't think there was that
So you're
people.
saying open until 8 on Mondays, and what about
And then
the rest of the week?
the normal hours of.
Just normal
which
or
would be
normal summer hours?
Normal summer hours,
Which
yeah.
is closing at when?
We're open 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday. And then it was Monday nights that we were open until 9 o'clock. And so we're just proposing being open until 8 o'clock, and we would do programming on Monday nights for adults. Zach has plans to do that.
So 10 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday, and 10 to 8 Monday, do I have that
Yes.
right? Okay. All right. Any discussion on that?
From a state library's perspective, is there best practices as far as what hours are?
It varies widely with communities. We are seeing more and more libraries closing at 8 p.m. as opposed to staying open until 9 because the traffic, like Kevin said, the traffic just isn't there.
So what about at 6?
We do have a lot of smaller libraries. A lot of larger libraries, 7 o'clock that I'm seeing. I'd have to, we have reports that we can pull. I can certainly pull some numbers and get them to Kevin too. For the size of the library that Mitchell is, we can do comparisons.
Any other questions for Kevin?
Would it benefit us to have a report? Similar size libraries, or are we happy with what you proposed?
I mean,
I'm kind of told, I'm okay with what he proposed, but
Yeah.
I'm curious on what other people are doing.
well, and even last year I did, there are, some libraries that they don't have a separate summer hours. They just have hours all 12 months a year. And then there are some libraries, I remember specifically Yankton is one of them, that they have they still do summer hours like we do. And they are similar to what we do. They're open later one night a week. So, I mean, the reason, I would say historically, the reason is, be careful saying it's always the way we've done it, but historically the reason is there's been less traffic in, the evenings in the summer because there are other activities for people to do.
Look at the bar graphs and things, it's always after 7 at least, that it's like crash. So
Yeah.
summertime, I would think it would be less even, because people are out doing stuff.
Yeah. And it's been, I know, well, every night there's probably baseball or softball. I mean, remember back when our girls were in softball, that was Tuesdays and Thursday nights. I can't say when baseball is because I didn't have boys.
What would you say your libraries are? You said similarly sized libraries.
Probably Pier, Brookings, Huron,
Yankton,
Yankton, Spearfish.
Watertown.
Surges, perhaps, yeah.
All right, so does someone want to put forth a motion to either accept as this or to wait and, can we wait? We can't really wait.
Well, not really. I mean, I would rather set hours now in April rather than in May.
Yeah, because that's
That
getting
would
too
just be
close.
then 2 weeks before we would start them. I mean, the other thing would be just to,
I mean,
I
we
mean, if
could,
we were going to do our normal summer hours, I wouldn't even brought a proposal. We would have just then gone to our normal summer hours of being
10 to
open.
9 instead of 10 to 8.
10 to 9 on Mondays. But I just don't really see a need to be open an extra hour later at night if there aren't going to be people here.
It would be interesting to see stats from comparative libraries, I think.
Can we approve this and still change it next month if we decided to, or is that too close?
Or we could live with it for a year or two.
Yeah, we could do that.
But I would like to see the stats.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so someone propose one way or the other.
I'll make the motion. Let's set the summer hours as written with Monday evenings at, what did you say?
8 o'clock.
8 instead of 9.
Okay, do I have a second for that?
I'll say.
All right, and then we could still ask for information and possibly use that for another time, but probably not this summer. All right, so we'll add that to that, but then all in favor of what Deb has proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we're good. All right, action to approve granting spending authority to the library director. This is what we talked about last month with the,
This is something that Diana requested be on the agenda for this month, so that if we also, I think part of it was in conjunction with possibility of not having meetings every month and allowing the library director to,
Follow up with the discussed.
I'm sorry?
Could you just put up on the screen where it is in the agenda? The details?
Yeah, I mean, because it was something that you requested, so I did not, it was,
I don't have those.
wasn't a proposal coming from me.
Like, up to, do we want to set that bottom line, like 75,000 in our budget? And approve spending requests up to that? Do we want to set like up to $5,000 before the next meeting?
Oh, I was thinking if you would say $500
Work 500.
Okay.
because, most of the, most of the things that, we've brought, unless it was like for summer programming, then, was a $4,000 request. I mean, most of the things that I've brought, been less than that.
So something like, we would move that the library director be granted authority to pre-approve up to $1,000 until it can be formally approved at the next board meeting.
I was thinking 500 to 1,000 range or something. But Diana, the part of the tying it into maybe our base 75,000, up to $1,000 as long as it doesn't make the base go
Sure.
below $75,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Combination thereof.
Because there might be.
Yes, I
it's
agree.
like, no, hold on, we'll wait a month.
Mhm.
I don't think we're gonna, I don't know, we won't really know till probably
Right.
November of this year where we end up
Right.
close to that 75K number, but
Yeah,
that at least keeps the base there.
I
And
agree.
to me, I thought more of it allowed us, instead of meeting 12 times a year, maybe we could meet 8 or 7 or 6. Or we could meet
When we
it's
needed
busier,
to.
When it's not busier, take a month off.
Okay, so I move that we grant the library director authority to pre-approve spending requests up to $1,000, not to take the library account budget below $75,000.
The library account,
Library Board of Trustees bank account. Yeah.
bank account.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second
Okay, any other discussion? I guess it's too late after we've made the motion. So all in favor, say, it's
No,
not?
this is the
Okay.
time to discuss, actually.
Okay, discussion,
that. And we'll kind of watch this for probably the next year and see how it goes, and then if we adjust meeting cycles, we'll have that discussion.
I know it's been, you could do a friendly amendment. I mean, do you want to put any time limit on it, like
At the next
through?
meeting? Oh.
No, like through the end of this year, through 2022, and then you would renew the authority in 2023?
I don't have a problem with wanting to.
Okay.
Right. If
We'll
we have a
we'll fix it
problem,
in
we'll
real
make a
time.
change.
We'll fix it in real time, right? If we hear that Kevin just left for Mexico.
And he didn't invite us.
We know the people at the bank.
Yeah.
Please take up.
Any other discussion or questions about that? All right, so all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Then we have a discussion with Brenda.
So, yeah, Brenda is traveling from Pierre to Sioux Falls and stopped at the library, so I told her, well, we're having a board meeting, and if you want to stay a little longer and attend the meeting, and if there are any questions that the board members have about, you know, how often boards need to meet or the role of the boards, or I asked Brenda if she wanted to give any updates on what the state library is doing, the search process for a permanent state librarian. I also asked her if she would talk a little bit about continuing ed that we need to have that we should have board members do so that we could have the library be certified. So,
I can start with that.
Sure.
If you want.
Sure.
So the program that the state library runs, it's a voluntary accreditation. So some states require libraries in their states to be accredited. We do not. It's voluntary. It just looks good for the library and for the library director, because the library director also has to be certified at a certain level depending on the population of the library. So there's 3 levels of accreditation. The essential level is basically that you're meeting everything in South Dakota codified law. And I'll just mention, since the discussion was how many times do we have to meet, I'll look this up to make sure I'm right, but according to South Dakota codified law, boards need to meet at least 4 times a year. So some meet every month, some meet, but South Dakota codified law states that you have to meet at least 4 times a year. And I'll make sure that I verify that. I have a computer, otherwise I'd look it up. So that's one question that might be answered there. But as far as our accreditation levels, so there's the essential level, and that just means that you are meeting everything that is laid out in South Dakota codified law of what a public library in South Dakota is. And then we have the next level, let's see, essential, enhanced, and then exemplary are the next 2 levels. So many libraries, when they start, or they just, if it's a smaller library, we have lots of smaller libraries that just meet that essential level, and as you go up, there's more requirements, more boxes to check, basically. And so some libraries can't check those next boxes because they don't have a website, or they don't have whatever the case may be. So Rollins Library years ago got a new library director. They'd never been accredited before. She started with the very bottom level, and then she just worked her way up, and they're at the exemplary level now. And a lot of libraries will say, well, what does this do for us? Well, it all depends. We have had libraries that their librarian was certified, their library was accredited, and they used that information to go to their city council and request a raise, and she got it. So it kind of all depends on how you want to use it. The grants that we gave out this year, we gave out almost $2 million in these ARPA grants that Mitchell received. And on a lot of them, we don't give out a lot of grants from the state library. We don't do a lot of sub-grants with our federal money that we get. But when we got this money, we first gave it to the accredited libraries because they went through that process, to go through that accreditation process and to get accredited. So we had a lot of money, so we had more money than to just give to the accredited libraries, but those were the libraries that we gave the money to first because they went through that process. So that's one of the things that we kind of, I guess it's a perk. Like I said, we don't get a lot of grant money, but we've had 2 rounds of grant money since COVID. So most of what we do with our federal money, and I just got notification last week, we generally get about $1.6 to $1.7 million. The money comes from the Institute of Museum and Library Services in DC, and they base it on the state population. So the federal government budget gets approved, IMLS gets whatever that particular money is, and then they divide it amongst all state library agencies, and it depends on what your state population is as to how much money you get. So we got roughly about $1.7 million for this next federal fiscal year. Much of what we spend our money on are databases. So if you've ever used a lot of the databases, genealogy databases, research databases, car repairs, we offer a plethora of databases, and they are free to South Dakota citizens. Every South Dakota citizen in South Dakota can access those databases for free. And so we spend over $600,000 to $700,000 on those. The WHOFI that Kevin mentioned, we pay for that and make it available to libraries. So that's a lot of what we do with our money. We also have our Braille talking book library for those folks who are visually impaired or can't physically turn the pages of a book for whatever reason. That's all federally funded as well. So, and we do a lot of training. So, and we try to do library site visits. We don't try to make pests of ourselves, but I am required, and as I'm in this interim role, I'm required to be in Pier every week. So I have a lot of windshield time. I live in Sioux Falls. So I have a lot of windshield time between Sioux Falls and Pier, and it's kind of nice to break it up and head off the interstate and visit a library once in a while. So that's
Which level is Mitchell?
Well, just curious, that's one of my goals to get reaccredited. That
So we're just at the essential level, right?
we're not at any level.
Oh.
When I started, I mean, the accreditation had flipped, and so that's on my to-do list to submit that by November.
Yep.
So this year.
By December, so
Yeah.
plenty of time. And yeah,
And
if
so-
you want to start at the essential level, that's the perfect place to start, really. Part of the requirement is that the board members have to have 15 hours of continuing education credits. And that can be all online.
Cumulative, though, right?
Yes,
Not each
yes,
member.
Not each member, no. All of you as in one big group, 15 hours of continuing education.
Per year?
It's a 3-year cycle, so, yeah, so this first time around, there's certain things that we have to do, but then you could renew in 3 years, and during that 3-year cycle, then you just have to have 15 hours. And it's very easy to get, especially with these are all online. So some of the things, maybe at a board meeting, Kevin does, or somebody does, maybe Zach does, a demo of one of the databases. That would count as board continuing education, because the more you know about the services that are available at the library, hopefully the more people you're going to tell when you're out in the community. Hey, did you know that the library has these great genealogy databases, and you can look up your family history and your ancestry there, and things like that. So other things, just we've had people do, if you do like active shooter training, that's something. CPR training, how to use an AED, or the state library also pays for a series of webinars. And Kevin could maybe recommend a couple of webinars that you could do. And you usually get a certificate when you sign up for a webinar, or at least some email notification that, yes, you attended this webinar. And then you just let Kevin know, or forward him your certificate or whatever, and then he could keep a spreadsheet of so-and-so attended this webinar, and it was worth 1 hour. And so, yeah, the 15 hours would be very easy to get.
And so one question I have about that, Brenda, is that have to be all like library related? I mean, you said active shooting, but Diana, works at Dakota West Thing, if she would attend some kind of conference, would that count? Or does it have to be something that can be attributed or pertinent to the library?
Good question. And we do like to see the training somehow pertinent to the library or something that you as a board member, active shooter training, you might not think that would be pertinent to the library, but it is. You know, AEDs, if you're in the library someday and somebody falls and has a heart attack or something and you're there. So those types of things we would definitely say, yeah, those are definitely board related. Maybe first aid training or something like that. But
Does the library have an AED?
Are credits available at the South Dakota State Library Convention?
yes,
Library.
that's a great question, Denny. Denny and I have known each other for years. So yeah, if you were available to attend the SDLA conference, even for just a day, it's in Brookings this fall. We're back to hopefully in person again. But you could attend the SDLA conference for a half a day or a day, and you would get credits for that. Anybody who attends the full conference actually gets 15 credit hours, so.
So one person could get the 15 credit hours for the entire board.
Honestly, yep. And there's other opportunities too. I mean, like I said, we offer a plethora of webinars. Some are specific to library boards. If you're interested in what is our role. We have a webpage also on the State Library website that is all about library boards and trustees. You know, what does the library board do as compared to what the librarian does? Because there are lots of different things, and you're setting policies and things like that. So, I mean, Kevin could even take 15 minutes at a board meeting sometime and pull up that webpage, and we can kind of talk about the things that are on that webpage. That would count as well. So, we get very creative. So.
You said it's 15 credit hours for the essential level. Is it more for the?
Yes, yeah,
Enhanced?
correct. Yep, so I think it goes to enhanced would be 30, and then the exemplary level is 45. And then, of course, like I mentioned, it's a 3-year renewal process. So once you're at a certain level and you want to stay at that level, then you've got 3 years to get those continuing education credits.
But to initially get the essential, if we apply for it this year, we would have to have the 15 hours in the next 6 months. So,
And Kevin also has to be certified too, so he has extra work to do. So every 3 years, he has to reapply for certification at a certain level. So depending on the city population of Mitchell, and there's requirements. So for a city population of Mitchell, the state library recommends that the library director have a master's degree in library science. And so you check that box and send us his proof of his diploma from wherever he got his degree, and then he has 3 years, and again, to do some continuing education. So he has to do continuing education too within that next 3 years for when he gets recertified. So.
and I did do that.
So if we have a session, say on databases or whatever, and 5 of us are there, that's 5 hours. Okay, just making sure it wasn't one total.
Yep, no, if it's a total, if it's an hour-long session, and each of you attends
So
it,
it'd be
yeah.
pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even if it was a 15-minute demo, you still take 15 minutes times all of you. Yeah. Other questions about the state library?
What are some cool features of the library that we might not be aware of?
I think probably one of our best kept secrets is our Braille and Talking Book program. There are so many people that don't know that program exists, and it's free. It's a federally, I mentioned it's a federally run program, so totally federally funded. And it's just people who, my dad has macular degeneration, so he's legally blind. Unfortunately, he's not a reader, but if he were, I would sign him up for that program right away.
And how do you sign up for that?
He would be, there's applications on our website.
On the
And usually.
state library?
Yep, state library website, and usually it is a medical professional or, somebody that needs to basically verify that, yes, this person needs this service. And then what we do is we sign them up. We have readers advisors, and they get on the phone and say, "Hi, Sam, you're a new patron. What kind of books do you like to read?" And then they can set him up. We will send a physical, it's kind of like an old tape recorder, and they can listen to the books on that unit. Or we've got what's called download on demand too, where they've got a computer or something that they can just listen on their device. So, yeah, they've gotten a little more techie on the federal level over the last 3 years. And I don't know, does Mitchell, we work with a lot of libraries and nursing homes where we actually leave a unit at the library. And so we do that too.
So then do they order books to play on their, if they get a recorder?
Yep,
or whatever,
yep.
they just order them through the website? Or
Through the,
library?
website, or again, our readers advisors touch base with everybody, and they'll, maybe they do it on a monthly basis, and they'll say, "Hi, what, are you finished with your books? Do you need some new books? Did you like those titles? Did you not like those titles?" And some of these people read them so fast that they call us and say, "I'm ready for some new books." And we've got so many heartwarming stories from daughters and sons of one of the patrons who has passed away, but things felt like mom or dad was just kind of there, and then they got signed up for this program, and it just lit up their life, being able to read again. So a lot of heartwarming stories there.
And Brenda, how does the number of titles or variety of titles in that program compare to like audiobooks in Overdrive?
And basically, it's kind of the same, it's still audiobooks out of Overdrive. It's just a different program, basically. It's kind of Overdrive for Braille and Talking Book patrons. So I want to say there's like 300,000 titles, upwards of 300,000 titles in what we've got. So. And then we also have the other kind of neat thing is we have several recording studios throughout the state, and all of the books in the catalog that come from the federal level are not, a lot of them are not regional. So if there was a South Dakota history book or a local author, we have recording studios throughout the states, and we have a lot of volunteers, and they'll go into the recording studio and they'll read the book, so that we've got a lot of South Dakota related regional books in the catalog too. But we have to find local volunteers to read those and record those. So.
Is there a studio in Mitchell?
Nope, not yet. We've got one in Sioux Falls, we've got one in Vermilion, we're working on one at the School for the Blind in Aberdeen, we've got one in Rapid City, and I think those are it. So.
Is a podcast studio similar to that?
Yeah.
So there's a podcast studio at the Government Library that you might be able to tap into.
Volunteers really enjoy it. Yeah, they come in and they get in their little studio and put their headphones on and read to their heart's content, and whatever works for them. If it's only 45 minutes, or then they get tired, or the golf gets, Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Kevin, you're out of time.
Yes, he's probably
That's
got it
fine.
too.
But I wanted this to go on for as long as it needed to go.
I just want to throw in, I looked at Watertown Library, and they close at 8 every night of the week except Friday at 6. In case you want. I didn't keep going.
All right, so thank you, Brenda, for
And I'm
your
happy to
information.
produce, a report for you guys for library hours.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think we still are interested in that.
Yeah.
So, and we appreciate your telling us about the state library and what your role is and your jobs. And thank you for coming.
One of those nice things that Kevin just completed, probably the public library survey, and that's required
Yep.
of all of our public libraries in South Dakota. So that's where we get that information, because
Sure.
everybody's required to list their hours and things like that. So, yeah, easy information to pull.
All right, well, we would love to keep talking, but as you said, Kevin needs to get going. Committee reports, I don't believe we have any committees. Any board input? Okay. Yes, thank you again for coming. Next meeting is May 17th at 5 p.m. right here. It happens to be a month with 5 Tuesdays, it looks like, so we're back to Tuesday next month. And there being nothing else to discuss, meeting is adjourned.